Hi, I'm Corey.
And I'm Sophie.
And we're Two in the Box. Welcome back to another episode of Two in the Box.
Yeah.
Game week 8 completed in the WSL with a lot of drama, a lot of controversy.
And a lot of draws.
A fair few draws. So we'll get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do, shall we have a look at where we stand, where our predictions led us?
Yeah, so I totaled only 3 points this week, which literally came from the 2-1 win against Man City. For Man City. I predicted a correct scoreline, which is where my 3 points came from. And Corey only got
even worse
2 points.
Yeah, so only 2 points for me, which is terrible. So yeah, I mean, I was in with 3 point shout with a 3-point victory with West Ham, but they couldn't hold on to get me my 1-0.
No,
so that's annoying. Otherwise, I could have got another 3 points there. So
you could have.
You slowly edge towards me
by 1 point.
So 1 point. So the total score is 44 to me and 35 to Soph. So she's clawing back a little by little.
I'm catching up.
Yeah, you're catching up. So that's good. It's good for you, but I need to improve. That was terrible.
Terrible from both of us. Nothing really went our way, to be honest.
No, we completely read that wrong. So a bit disappointing on that front. So we need to do a lot better for this weekend.
Yeah, lots of rogue scores.
Yeah,
or rogue predictions, whatever way you want to look at it.
I don't think we did anything wild. I just clearly think everyone had it in. Everyone wanted to shock us this weekend. It was an exciting weekend at the WSL. There were lots of shocks, which was nice. It's nice to have. It gives us food for thought for the next prediction. So that's fun. I think, we just need to.
Yeah, you don't want it to be too predictable. Yeah, it's boring then.
It is, and maybe, like I said, gives us food for thought. We can't just go with the team that seems obvious. You have to kind of think around it and really see what's the motivation behind teams and whether they're able to come up with a shock victory or put the extra effort in. Yeah, like definitely. The Aston Villa game against Man United, which not many would have seen. So we'll get into, maybe we'll put all the predictions aside. We'll talk about what we think for the upcoming weekend in a moment. But before that, shall we speak about the weekend?
Yeah, Game week 8. Okay, so let's kick it off with the
only place to start, really.
Yeah.
As we've mentioned before, I'm a Chelsea fan, Sophie's an Arsenal fan, so it's only one place to start.
Yeah, so it was real fun in our household on Saturday morning, and the main point around it is it time for VAR?
Yeah,
obviously lots of controversial points.
Yeah, lots of controversial points. Game ended in a draw. The short and gist of it, obviously we won't go into it, but Chelsea started really well, I think. On top, scored one, should have scored more. Let use back into it. The second half, we started okay, but then completely fell away, it felt like. And you came back into it, put pressure on us. That kind of pressure built more and more, and with all those fans.
Yeah.
And then the controversy just seemed to pile on top of each other. Every decision was worse than the next.
The ref was not having a good game, bless her.
Yeah, so there was 4 things really.
Yeah.
There's the Pavlova potential red card. There's the Stina, the worst one in my opinion, the Stina Blackstenius handball or ghost handball. And then the
Russo goal offside
and Freya Godfrey goal offside. So each one is loaded in controversy, and the officiating team unfortunately don't come off very well from it, which has led to these huge debates.
And then also, like I said, the ref making poor decisions in terms of
sorry, that's our dog.
The ref making poor decisions in terms of like you said, not giving a red card for a potential foul from Pavlova, and then Katie McCabe receiving she fouled a player, but then Caitlin Ford got the yellow card
when she shouldn't have.
It was just very controversial in terms of the decisions that were made, and I think obviously Renee Sleggers at the end was very much not happy.
She was
and
struggling
did not
to-
even slightly hide that.
She's struggling
and
to not hide that.
No, and I think, but when there are so many things that have just, and little things, like there's nothing massive. I mean, the Stina Blackstenius goal is massive, but like nothing absolutely outlandish. But when they kind of all build on top of each other, like it's something that builds up, and you can totally see the anger, and the frustration, and obviously the players spoke about it when they were being interviewed at the end. And it's something that Stina Blackstenius that's clear as day, not a handball. No one called for it. No. There's however many, Lucy Bronze is right in front of her. There's however many different Chelsea players in the box. The ref's right there. No one called for it, but yet she thought that was a sound decision to make. So that's gutting, because we should have won, realistically.
I wouldn't go as far as that.
I think we should have.
I mean, of course, you're an Arsenal fan, you're going to say that, but I think, if we're doing it in chronological order, the referee had a howler, let's put it that way. If we're doing it in chronological order, you should have been down to 10 men. At that point, it could have changed everything. And, each decision, each thing would have affected one, would have created a new, had a butterfly effect, right? So if you'd gone down to 10 men, who knows what would have happened? If Stina Blackstenius' goal doesn't get disallowed, and it's 1-1 with a lot of time left, who knows what could happen? Like Chelsea might get this extra wind because there was time for that.
Yeah.
Like each thing would have affected and changed the game. So you can't say clear, like I don't buy the whole like you should have won.
No, but I think we played better than you.
You played better in the second half. You didn't play better in the first half.
I think we played better for the majority of the game.
In the second half,
but I think towards the end of the first half,
I think the chances in the first half were all Chelsea, and there were
first part of the first half. I would say the first 25 minutes.
We'll just agree to disagree.
No!
As opposing fans, this is why it gets too heated. It will agree to disagree, because I think all the chances in the first half were Chelsea chances. We hit the bar. We had chances where Daphne Van Domselaar was a key figure for you in the first half. She kept you in the game, some great saves, realistically. So not that you didn't have chances against us, I'm not denying that, but we had very clear-cut chances in that first half. We could have put it out of sight. We didn't. We got punished for that because you came back into the game, which has been Chelsea's problem for this season. We're not clinical enough, and because of that, we're only scraping by, and we should have got 3 points in this game, and we didn't. That's a separate issue. Arsenal could also argue the same thing. You're not clinical enough. When you were on top, you didn't.
We were clinical enough. The goals got disallowed.
Okay, and
blame the ref.
I mean, to go back to your point and question, should there be VAR in the WSL? I'm not for VAR. I'm not. It's complicated because I don't think. I think with VAR, we all know the difficulties with VAR in the men's game.
Absolutely.
A lot of people call for it not to be removed because they think it slows down the game. There's over officiating. There's re-refereeing games. It's wasting time. The crowd don't know what's going on. They've made a lot of changes to it, and it's still not really perfect. Ultimately, it's bad officiating, and even VAR with more officials in Stockley Park, it's just like it makes it even worse. And I think with poor officials, like the women's game does not have the standard of the high level of standard of refereeing that the Premier League has. Fact. That's not me being cruel to the women's game. They just use a lower standard. The referees that referee in the women's game referee in the lower leagues in the men's game. They don't referee at the high levels of the men's game, so they're not as high. And if you have those officials also doing the video referee, it's going to be terrible. They'll be making mistakes in VAR too.
Yeah, of course they will.
So I don't think VAR is the answer, but I do think the women's game has no technology in it. And I think
Champions League does.
The Champions League does. I mean, the WSL has no technology in it. And I think that needs to be rectified immediately. Personally, I think the one thing, if there's any technology that's going to come in the women's game and it needs to be done immediately, it's goal line technology for me. Yeah. I think that is an absolute shambles, personally.
Yeah, how do you not have that?
How do you not have that? Yeah. Because if the currency of football is goals, and when you need to determine whether the ball's gone across the goal line, to say that it's a goal, you need to be able to say that definitively. Yeah. And I just think if you're going to call yourself, the WSL wants to be, you know, the best league for women in the world and have all these world-class players, then you have to have the world-class standards, and that for me needs to be brought in immediately. A quick Google search just shows you that's only going to cost club, I say only, it's still a lot, it's an investment, but in most of these stadiums they'll have it already, the big stadiums if you're playing in the men's team.
Yeah, this is it. We play at the Emirates. Yeah. It's already there.
Apparently it's 250,000 for a team to install the goal line cameras that are required, but the Emirates would already have it, Goodison Park would already have it. If Chelsea are playing at Stamford Bridge, that would have it. Villa Park, that would have it. You know, so a lot of clubs would already have it, and it should just be a requirement for the other WSL teams. If you want to be in the WSL, this investment has to be in there. You need to pay for goal line technology. So that for me needs to be a given. And then when you're talking about the mistakes that have happened in this game, and the Piscina Blackstenius one, which I agree as a Chelsea fan is absolutely abysmal, a terrible decision. I think the FA have a potential, instead of bringing in VAR and how expensive that is and how many mistakes would still happen with that, they have the potential to try something new, right?
Well, I think that what actually needs to happen personally is that I think VAR needs to be tweaked all round. I think the way that it is ran in the men's game, in terms of like every decision is being called upon and go and look at this and go and look at that and overturn this and overturn that, and it's like, I'm so sorry, when it's literally like, oh, their eyebrow was offside, or oh, their fingernail, like, it's too much. It's gone too far.
100%.
And I think what we need to do is scale back the men's and introduce that level of it to the women's.
Instead of doing that,
because then it's not going to have, because I agree, there are lots of mistakes that happen. It does waste time. Like, it disrupts the game and kind of the flow and the energy and the pace of things and the fans, and there's lots of things that it disrupts and that it causes problems. Now, I'm not for VAR in that aspect, but I think that it is the only way for us to be able to get correct decisions on those kind of situations.
Yeah, it's
never
something
like a handball, or it's something like a very tight margin. And again, it's like, if it's a very tight margin for offside, I feel like there needs to be some sort of stipulation of like how close before we just say, look, it's too close.
I think you're right. Look, you know, Arsene Wenger's trying to make changes to the offside rule, and I'm kind of with him on that, but a lot of fans aren't. But that's too big of a problem. I think changing the rules and trying to do things like that, the women's game can't take on. They can barely afford goal line technology cameras. But what they could do, what the FA could do, they've got an opportunity, I think, with the women's game to trial something that they need to try and, like you say, help with the men's team. So if we're going to make changes in the men's, maybe we trial something different in the women's game. Instead of bringing in VAR, there's a football video support system, FVS, which they were trialling. I think they trialed first in Serie C in Italy, but they tried most recently in the men's FIFA Under 2020 World Cup.
Okay.
Where the coaches, the managers, get a card, a purple card or a blue card, I can't remember what colour it is, and you have two challenges.
Not veto, but they get to challenge a decision. Yeah.
You have your two challenges. If you get the decision right and say you overturn a bad decision by the referee and they're happy to overturn it, you still keep your two challenges. If you got it wrong, you lose a challenge. And they've introduced that. It doesn't need VAR cameras. All that happens is the referee can review maybe like the iPad footage that there's being taken right there and there, the screen right there. They don't need to see different, they don't need the multitude of cameras. It doesn't need
someone
to go
to sit and talk.
Yeah, they don't need to talk to like a panel of referees at Stockley Park, because it's expensive. VAR. We're not expecting. I don't think the VAR expense is needed in the women's game, because that is expensive. You basically would need a team for each fixture, which is all at the same time. So, every team, each fixture would need a separate team based in Stockley Park. It's expensive, and all the cameras required for that. So this FVS, this football video support system, would be so much cheaper.
Yeah.
And other leagues are doing it. Women's leagues around the world and it gives some agency for the It's like, if it was in the place for this Arsenal game, Sleggers would have seen that. She would have thrown in the card. The referee would have been able to come and look at the iPad footage that all the coaches were looking at on the bench, seeing that she'd made a mistake, and the goal would have stood. Yeah. Like, it would have been that quick. And it's cheap. They have an opportunity, just like they're doing the pilot scheme with the alcohol in the stands. for the women's game.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity to pilot something in the women's game that could eventually come into the men's game. And it's not like it's brand new. This is being used in other leagues in the world. It's been approved by FIFA. There are options, and I just feel like, personally, my gripe is we cannot keep calling the Women's Super League the best league in the world for women's game. There's mistakes happening. Yeah, there's mistakes happening, and there's things that can be done to make this league better. They keep talking about the growth of the women's game, the growth of the women's game. That shouldn't just be when England women win the Euros. That should be trying to improve the game in all its aspects. I watch the men's game. I'll openly admit it. I watch the women's game, sure, but I'm definitely watch the men's game a lot. And there's much to admire about it, but there's lots that it can improve on too.
Definitely.
And it's just like the women's game can help with that in its way too. Like, we can trial things in the women's game that could definitely help the men's game and improve the women's game as well. I just feel like
I do wonder though, does it put managers in a position that they can pipe up, and is that going to potentially add certain things in terms of, I don't know, just like
the football videos, the
FPS like does it cause a little bit of an imbalance in terms of who has the authority over the refereeing of the game? Like, you know how you see it when like certain managers pipe up and argue a decision, and all of a sudden they're given a yellow card for dissent because you're arguing with the referee.
Well, you only have 2 challenges.
You do, but how do we manage how that is challenged?
Well,
because I think, again, in the women's game, I don't think there's going to be many opportunities where it's really going to cross a line. I think, again, for the most part, it's a little bit more respectable and respectful than the men's game. I think there are some coaches and managers in the men's game that would take that and run with it.
Yeah, but you only have 2 challenges, so you are limited. So you
again, I think
if you go over
the way that you
pass a card, it's a card, a physical card. You don't shout at the referee or anything. It's a card you pass to the 4th official, and they alert the referee and their system, their microphone system, their communications to say this person is challenging, this manager is challenging, this team is challenging the call. They have to do it in a certain amount of time. You can't just leave it forever. You have to get it in a certain amount of time. And it's an option. It doesn't require much technology. It gives some agency to teams. It allows managers to get things off their chest. It's very much like in tennis. When you challenge a call, you're angry in that moment. You think you've been there's injustice.
I mean, that's what I'm worried about. That anger is going to be presented, and you're thinking it as a good thing, but I'm looking at it from the other side. But then they get access.
Yeah, I know. But they get a decision, and whereas at the moment the anger's there and there's no decision. Schlegel's got a yellow card, for example.
And
could have been sent off.
The whole bench nearly
because she was still going. And I think, wouldn't it be better if she could just hand the card over, get the decision looked at, end of? And I just think it's a debate, and I hate to see it just be like VAR, no.
And a lot of the women players itself don't want it. They're not here for it.
Well, like I said, I just feel like I don't want to see the debate be reduced to let's bring VAR in the women's game completely. It needs technology. Let's bring technology in the women's game. Let's be creative in the women's game. Let's give the women's game something that can stand for itself and assist with its constraints, because women's game does not have the infrastructure and does not have the money that the men's have. So let's be creative with the options that we have here, instead of just saying let's replicate what's happening in the men's game. The women's game needs to stand for itself and not lose things that it has for itself, and be creative in its own way. And this is an opportunity, I think, and I'd love to see something else be brought in. The criticism, I should just say before we end this, because we've talked a lot about this game, is I did read somewhere that one of the criticisms of this FVS system would be time wasting. Managers, especially if they've got their 2 challenges coming towards the end of the game,
they think,
let's just challenge that and waste time. So it can have, has got a negative.
Call everyone over, have a quick chat. You can have a drink of water.
The referee's got to look at the video very quickly. There are some things, and obviously, it still would be dubious about offside situations, because although you could ask that to be reviewed, they're not able to maybe
the lines
technology. So they could, so it does have some of fault, but it's definitely better what we've got at the moment, and it would clear up a lot of the situations that happen in that game.
Things that are easy to be cleared up, which I think is always the case. I think, like I said, VAR's gone too far, where it's like it is we're reviewing things that are to the human eye, not possible to be
and the
seen.
game's shouldn't be like that.
No, it's gone a bit crazy. Anyway, end of the VAR chat, because we could talk about this forever.
Yeah, so that game ends in a draw, and then another game with another game with up in the top of the table that was shocking on Saturday was the Villa Man United game, or should say Man United Villa game.
Yes.
Did you see that come in?
No. I can't remember I think I said 3-1 for Man United. I
just remember saying, and then I stand by it now, it depends what Villa team shows up, and that's the problem. It's like you just don't know which Villa, right? And
don't even think it was just what Villa. Man United just weren't there.
Yeah, they were flat.
They just weren't there, and I don't know. It just, things weren't happening and clicking, and they weren't getting the goals that they normally get. I think the chances that they normally have, it just all wasn't there for me.
I think Mark Skinner rested a couple of players. I think Mallard started on the bench.
Yeah.
Obviously, then he took off the likes of Jess Park when they were chasing the game a bit. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe they had an eye on the PSG game later this week.
Maybe
tomorrow at the time of recording this. So maybe, and they took their eye off the ball and just let Villa, who defended very well. Villa have that in their locker. That's what I mean. Like, you just don't know what Villa's going to turn up.
No,
they defended really well. They had it. The game was very evenly matched despite Villa's very low possession. I think they had like 30% possession, ridiculous. But they had the same amount of chances as United.
Yeah,
I think they got relatively lucky with the goal because I think Fallon Tullis-Joyce was completely blocked by all those players in front of her. So couldn't really have a chance.
What was going on. She was over the other side of the goal.
But it was well taken, and they deserve it. They played really well.
They did play well. They fought hard.
Yeah. So lost points for Man United. It will be disappointing, but Villa will be ecstatic that they've taken points from a top team once again. So they took points of Arsenal. They nearly took points of Chelsea.
Broke their unbeaten run.
Yeah, and then broke United's unbeaten run. And who knows? They're definitely dark horses in terms of being able to snatch points from the big teams. So.
And they did show that last year. Obviously, they had a odd season last year.
Yeah, with half and half.
Where they went the whole of the first season and lost however, I think it was something like 12 games in a row that they lost, and then they came back to win like their next 8 or something.
It's going to make it hard for it's going to make it hard for basically predicting their next fixture, but we'll see.
Next game. London City Lionesses.
Yeah, probably game of the weekend. Oh, maybe not if you take away all the controversy of the Chelsea game. And that was a good game, but
it was a good game. It was
in
spicy.
terms of goals, this was the game of the weekend.
It was. And in terms of like dark horse, again, I don't think many people, because
I didn't. They are gelling better than I thought.
They are, and Tottenham have had a really good run so far.
Yeah,
and they've shown some really good play, and they've been very strong in certain areas.
I don't think though the goal line, I think the scoreline flatters them a little bit. I don't think it was a 4-2 in that sense. I just think they did enough to beat Spurs, but up until the 81st minute the game was a draw. They had chances, and Spurs could have done better, but I don't know. I just feel like they deserve the win, but
let's also remember that it would have been 4-1 if Spurs didn't get a penalty. Which, again, London City need to stop this. What?
They've had a lot of penalties, but it's all, it's true.
It's just crazy.
I didn't see it coming, personally, and I'm
I
shocked.
didn't. And I think, again, there were a couple of things in the London City game where there was one where it potentially might have been a handball.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was calling for it, but the first goal looked like it might have hit
an arm,
maybe.
But
another moment where if there was a challenge system, maybe someone would have looked at it. But
and I saw that it was Nikita Paris's 200th game, and she scored on the 200th game.
Yeah, nice.
So that's a nice achievement.
That's nice, and they're doing really well. I think, they're a team similar like Villa that sometimes I think I have a problem guessing which way they're going to go, and this game is now not helping me because I thought Spurs had enough to beat them, and I might
just go for all of the dark horses this week.
Just go the other way. Fair enough.
Go rogue. Who knows?
We should say the next games. God, we're going to talk about them in unison because they basically did exactly the same thing, but we're happy for them nonetheless, just because it was starting to get dire. West Ham and Liverpool finally pick up points.
I know. I was so happy for both of them. I mean, I did not predict that it was going to go in favour of either of those teams.
Yeah.
But I must say, when they both scored and they were both winning first, that did make me smile a little bit.
Yeah,
because,
I knew it would.
Yeah, it's been a long slog for both of them, and I feel like it's about time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So yeah, both of them picked up points.
They did, but they both scuppered the chance to win, and basically in the most identical way those games went. So both 1-0 up with minutes to go, and they both poorly concede with a lack of concentration towards the end.
Yeah, and just poor defending.
Yeah, I don't know whether for them both they just got a little bit nervous. That pressure of you're almost there to pick up 3 points, time's ticking, and then you kind of miss out. So I do feel bad for them. They could have definitely, I think the West Ham one was worse, because I don't think Brighton, you could always see Brighton maybe get a point and come back. But I thought West Ham would definitely, they ruined my prediction. I thought West Ham would do it and hold out.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't. So better for them both, but they'll be disappointed in their own way.
I think so. I think
they could have got more.
The defence in some cases, more so for Liverpool, was just a bit all over the show.
Yeah.
But it's an improvement.
Yeah.
We like improvements. And then the last game, which ended in a 2-1 win to Man City, which is what I predicted, has seen them go top of the table.
They have. Are they the title challengers for Chelsea? Possibly. As I kind of thought. So yeah, they went 2-1 up in that game. They won all and managed to win 2-1. So credit to them. But yeah, worrying times for a Chelsea fan, because they're just grinding away results, City, and I do think they're the ones for us to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously you called it at the beginning when we started doing this podcast that they would be your closest contenders. Yeah,
it's proving that that's the case, really. So
it is.
Difficult for us. We'll have to keep an eye on it, and they're not even really kicked into gear yet. So that's the scary thing. I think there's a lot for them to still manage to, gears for them to kick into. So we'll see how that gets on.
We shall.
But yeah, nervous times. We'll move on to predicting for game week 9.
Yeah.
Let's see how we get on.
Predictions.
Okay, so first fixture is a big one. It's the Manchester derby on Saturday.
Yeah, only game on Saturday.
At
1:30.
What are we saying? Who wants to start? You go ahead, since you won the...
Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you. I think it's going to be a good game, I'm looking forward to watching that. I think that will be good.
Test for City, because obviously, like we're saying, they're the title... Yeah. Kind of see them as title challengers. They're playing decently, playing well. I still think they've got gears to kick in. So.
However, I would have argued up until the last game for Man United, I would have argued that United probably are a little bit... They're playing a bit more of an exciting game, and there's a bit more happening, and they're definitely bagging more goals than City.
Yeah.
However, after the weekend just gone...
You got to remember as well... I'll go on. I won't influence, because I don't want you to get what I want.
I'm going to say... it's really hard. I'm going to say 2-1 City.
Yeah, I mean, I could... Yeah, annoying. Yeah, probably where I was going to go. I do think United are going to be... It's going to be a challenge for United, because they're coming off the game from PSG.
Yes.
And they're going to have to either switch their squad up, and they haven't got the depth for that. So I think that's going to take a toll. Man City don't have any Champions League this season, so that's going to go hugely in their favour. So I do think Man United are either going to step up, or Man City are going to just take advantage. But it's a derby and anything could happen. I'm going to say... Because you took my 2-1, and I've got some space between you, I'll go for the draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
1-1. Okay. Well, the rest of the games are all on Sunday.
Yeah.
A lot of 12 o'clock games, which is not fun, because it always makes it hard to watch
up,
as many as we can. But the first game is Aston Villa, London City. What are you thinking?
Well, it's a match of the dark horses.
It is.
The teams that are hard to read, how are they going to turn up? It's another test for London City to see whereabouts they are in their journey in the WSL. Will Aston Villa take their chances? I think this one just screams draw for me. But I can't go for 2 draws in a row. Can I really do that? I'm gonna go. I don't really want to do that. I'm gonna try and use my head this time. And
what
maybe
else were you using before?
I don't know, just like gut instinct, you know. So I'm gonna go to 2-2.
Okay, so you are going for a draw then?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Aston Villa are gonna do it. And I'm going to say, can I go for another 2-1? I'm going to do it. I'm going to say 2-1. 2-1 Aston Villa.
Nice. Okay, 2-1 Aston Villa. On to the next game. Brighton against Leicester.
You're first.
Oh,
no. No, I'm first.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm first. Sorry. I feel like, sorry, I just took a long
yeah, I was wondering what's going on there.
Just thinking. I think this could be quite an evenly matched game. I think with Michelle Adjamang out, obviously. Now
we didn't talk about that.
ACL. And we also didn't mention Katie Reid's also now out for Arsenal.
Yeah, again, the ACL yet,
but another continues. ACL, yeah. But I think Brighton and Leicester could be quite evenly matched. So I'm going to go 1-1.
Really? I think I get what you're saying, but I'm not always sure if Leicester's going to be able to score. Like, they pop up and manage it at times, and I'm always surprised because they do struggle. So I'm going to side with Brighton and go 1-0.
Good shout.
Next one is my team, Liverpool versus Chelsea. What do you reckon?
I think unfortunately for Liverpool, because I feel like they've just kick-started their ability to score a goal. But I think Chelsea will wipe the floor with them. I'm going to go 3-0 Chelsea.
Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, I was going to go with that. Yeah, I think obviously, I know we've got the Champions League game, but I do think we'll just switch the squad up. There's so much depth, so I don't think we're going to have a problem there. I'll go slightly less than that because Chelsea always disappoint me and don't score as many goals as I want. 2-0 Chelsea.
And Aggie Beaver-Jones might still have a dead leg or whatever's going on there.
We'll see with that.
Yeah. Next game, West Ham Everton.
I think this one's pretty tasty because I think West Ham have a few games they can win now in their run. They've just picked up their first points. So I'm hoping that they'll kick on a little bit and get something from this Everton game is my thought. So Everton obviously are playing well. I say that I don't know. It's a really tricky one, but I'm going to punt with West Ham moving in the right direction maybe, and Everton being away from home, and maybe West Ham have enough. Even me saying that, I don't know if I truly believe it. So I'm going to go with I'm going to just go with momentum and go with 1-0 West Ham.
That's what I was going to do. That's so difficult because I just don't know if they're going to get more than one goal.
Everton could easily win it. I could easily go the other way.
It could, and you know what? With that piece of advice, I am going to go the other way. So I'm going to go 1-0 Everton.
Okay. Final one of the weekend.
North London Derby.
2:30. Big game. Where will that go?
I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal.
Of course you are. Of course she is. I think Spurs might be a lot closer than that. Arsenal have the Champions League game against Bayern. It's a big game.
It is.
You're going to have to play your team in that. You obviously have the injury to Katie Reid, which is a big issue because you can't rotate in the back as you probably would like to.
No.
I'm going to go for a tight 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Really?
I am. I think I saw Spurs be dogged against Chelsea. They can sit in deep. They've got enough to hurt you a little bit, but maybe it's just going to stay. I don't know. It's going to be tight.
Okay, that's our predictions done.
Yeah, let's hope we do better than we did this week.
Let's hope so. Like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Share your predictions.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.